I'm going to say it, and it's going to ruffle everybody's feathers, but bear with me for the context here. I'm over the rebuild, and here's why I say that. Connor Bedard needs help. It's very, very clear that, especially now with Taylor Hall being out of the lineup, I think that even amplifies the need. I think with Hall there, you could have made the argument that, okay, they can get by. They got that one skill guy playing with him and kind of a rotation of whomever gets the other side. But right now, without Taylor Hall, which now is feeling like week to week again, right? He miraculously came back and now has had a further setback. They need to get him some kind of help. And that was kind of where that meatball Patrick Kane take came from. Sure, okay, maybe they're not going to bring Patrick Kane in, but Johnny, you know what they can do? There's a lot of guys on the free agent market that could come in on a dirt cheap deal for one season that aren't going to take away. Because here's the difference, right? The forward group is pretty set in stone. This isn't, oh, we got to groom young guys. You got one young guy to groom, and his name's fucking Connor Bedard. One guy, number 98. That's it. The defense, different animal. I want Kevin Korchinski playing every night, and guys like Wyatt Kaiser, and if he's up, Isaac Phillips, and and Alex Vlasic. That's a totally different ball game. But Johnny, if a guy, and again, this is not me trying to say like, oh, he's the answer, but just as an example, if a 25-year-old Kiefer Bellows who needs a change of scenery came in, or an older Josh Bailey wanted to play on a easy contract, or maybe even a Phil Kessel wanted to come in on a contract. None of those guys are taking away from anybody that's worth a shit, right? Just give him something, because if Connor Bedard's putting pucks in the back of the net and dishing the pucks to guys that are putting pucks in the back of the net, you know what that does? Builds his confidence. You know what happens when you have a confident generational talent like Connor Bedard? He goes on a fucking heater, and then we can really start to enjoy a rebuild season of Blackhawks hockey, and that's okay. But right now, he has no support, and the support for the future is a few years away.
Yeah.
So either they got to go do something that's completely short term for just this season, or maybe KD gets a little creative and finds a way to add somebody now that maybe needs a change of scenery, but is a highly skilled player that could benefit from playing with a guy like Connor Bedard that doesn't require you to deposit a ton of future assets as well.
Right.
I support the rebuild, but Johnny, get number 98 some fucking help now, especially with Taylor Hall week to week.
And it's only going to help those efforts going forward if you
1000%.
boost that confidence right now and have competent, wingers around him. And, who knows? Maybe Taylor Hall is just that sort of he misses just that like week or the 7 days that are necessary. But what if it's longer term than that? Then I think it really comes into play what you just mentioned there. And I wouldn't take completely off the table. I know it's been quiet on that front for probably about the better part of like 5 days now, but Connor Garland, guy you had mentioned on last week's edition of Ruffle Some Feathers. So, yep, I agree with you. And Skokes does too here in the comments. Once again, subscribe on YouTube, on Tap Sportsnet, get your comments in, get your takes in. We'll drop them in here live on the show. Ron, I've got a couple of feathers to ruffle here. And one is a response that we got. We posted the video of Connor Bedard's goal that eventually was waved off. And we, said in the tweet below that it was, waved off sides, thought it was bullshit. That's just our take on it. We've got the Twitter trolls in the replies. Andy at NHL Fan 24 on X in the replies says, "It's the rule, you pig." That was quite literally the response to it, even though we already said that. Yes, it was offside. We acknowledged it. The audacity of someone, self-proclaimed autograph hawk, calling anyone else a pig is just ridiculous. Nice 6 followers. You absolute loser. There's number 1 on Ruffle Some Feathers. Number 2, going a little bit wider, NHL. Ron, did you see the news? Shane Pinto suspended 41 games for gambling. They said he did not gamble on NHL action, but he got that suspension today. And they said he's not going to appeal it because it was something that was kind of mutually agreed upon between the player and the league, right? That all happened. So that's just kind of the gist of it. But man, Ron, just when I take a 1,000-foot view of this, and I go and look at Shane Pinto, good player. I like watching his highlights, especially on the fly when the Senators come up there. Useful contributor for them, but I go and look at it, and the absolute irony of a guy being suspended 41 games for gambling when last year he's forced to wear a Bet99 ad on his helmet last year, all season, since helmet sponsors are a thing now. Oh, and guess what? If he comes back this year, he's going to be in the spotlight. Everyone's like, oh, Shane Pinto, halfway through the season. Oh, he's finally coming back. Here's the, return of Shane Pinto. And guess what the image is going to be? It's going to be Betway That's the new sponsor. They just changed gambling platforms there. Fuck gambling ads. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of seeing all that shit. Saw a great edit today, and I think it was one of those parody accounts, Petrov McGuire, parodying Pierre McGuire, and it was the press release that the NHL sent out, and it said, the same exact text as it, the National Hockey League announced today that it has suspended Shane Pinto 41 games for activities related to wagering, whatever. And then on the bottom, they added in, this suspension brought to you by FanDuel, Bet365, DraftKings, BetMGM. So I just had to get that off my chest, Ron. I hate the gambling ads. If you want to go and gamble on, yourself, that's your prerogative. I have no problem with sports gambling itself, but the way that it's creeped into media, every pregame show has a prop of the game, and this is that, and and they talk about it and they try to integrate it so it's like sort of like feels like it's natural there. It still doesn't feel natural to me, and I fucking hate it. Just talk about the game itself. I can do without the gambling ads.
Yeah, and Johnny, let me further ruffle some feathers with you here, because I think it's kind of crazy and kind of bullshit where, again, I fully support if they want to sponsor the NHL, right? Or be an ad on the boards and shit like that, whatever. Fine. It's good for the league. They make money off of it. Hopefully that continues to grow the game, grow the sport. Great. But a guy can be accused, and this is not necessarily hockey, but sports in general, right? A guy can be accused or on video camera of beating the fuck out of a girlfriend or a person or something like that and get what? 5, 6 games.
Right.
Maybe,
Did Daniel
Johnny?
Sprong even serve a suspension for getting in a bar fight over the summer?
No. But yet a guy bets on something which is completely, or for the most part, completely legal. And this is where it's kind of shady, Johnny, because the National Hockey League is a national league. Yet not every state and not every, I don't know the Canadian rules, but maybe not every province in Canada has legal gambling yet on sports betting. So you're taking money from something that is not federally legal and that you shame your players. 41 games? It's very hypocritical, Johnny. And if anybody knows me very well, and I know you do, and the boys here at On Tap do, I fucking hate hypocrites. That shit grinds my gears. And again, I get it. You need to make money somehow. These are the places that have the money and they want to sponsor, and that's fine. But if you're going to make a fucking player wear a Bet99 and a Betway ad on his helmet, and you're going to give him a half a season for something, when there are very much severe things that athletes have done that get less suspension, it's very ass backwards, Johnny, when the league is just raking in all this money off of it. Now, they're going to rake in some of Shane Pinto's potential salary too, because he's suspended 41 fucking games for it.
Right.
So